Hello everyone, I'm Jacquan. Like Austin said, I am one of the counselors at EAP Lifestyle Management. I'm not sure if any of you guys really know much about us, but I'll hold that to the end so we can go ahead and get through the presentation. I do want to alert everyone it's only going to be about 45 minutes to an hour long, so we won't roll over. If you were here last time, I know it went a little bit way over time. So just bear with me because this is my first time presenting, so just like I said, bear with me. But like I said, it's EAP Lifestyle Management. We're your EAP, and I can go into more details about that once we're at the end. So this presentation is going to be on communication, how to communicate effectively, because we all have to work together to run the business, to make sure everything turns out good. So communication is always key. That's personal life, professional life, anywhere in the world, communication is key. Everyone should know their job, know your role. We all have bad days, so you just got to keep in mind not everybody gonna come in and have that same happy attitude from day one to the next day, but keep that in mind. Think about your office etiquettes, you know, how to be respectful to everyone. Try to get to know your peers. Sometimes we all make our own judgment against people because we've heard, you know, other things from other people, which we shouldn't do that. So just keep in mind office etiquette. Also keep in mind that communication plays a part when it comes to the law itself, because you can be sued for all types of things, and no one wants a lawsuit because it affects you as an individual. It also affects the job itself as a whole. So just keep in mind that you know, you want to be respectful as much as possible to your peers, to your coworkers, and everybody. And I'll just let you guys read through this one. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. But it keeps you, you know about your we's and your I's. Sometimes we tend to start our sentences off as, I felt like this, when it's really, that is your feeling, and you have a right to feel how you feel, but keep in mind you're not the only person involved. So don't always start every sentence off as you being the victim. Keep in mind, maybe you said something to somebody and it came out the wrong way. So now we need to jump from an I to a we or to an us. And then I'm also just gonna let you read through this. I'm not here to read to you guys because I don't know about anybody else, but I don't like to be read to. I want to read it myself because I get a better understanding when I read it myself versus somebody just standing up and verbatim going through some things, reading to me. But I do want to point this one out. A major reason capable people fail to advance is that we don't work well with our colleagues. That is true. You guys are in a big office compared to myself. I'm in an office with 3 other people, and we're all females, and we're all from different backgrounds, from a 94-year-old to the owner that's in her 70s. We have a 60-year-old, and then here I am at 36. So y'all can only imagine how very different we are in a very small office. But we have to try to communicate, because if we don't, then we fail as an individual, then the business fail as well. So keep that in mind. Take a look at yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself questions. What can I do, to help this person not feel the way they feel, or what can I do to help the business grow? Hold yourself accountable for everything. Keep in mind before you say anything, what can I do? How can I make a difference? What can I do to prevent this from happening in the future? Those are just things you want to ask yourself. Self-talk is important. I don't know if anybody in here do self-talk. I'm a true believer in it. Sometimes self-talk can really keep you from being in a lot of trouble. So self-talk is also important. Here are your communication spoilers. Keep in mind, are you overthinking it? Are you ignoring emotions? Are you judging people because someone has told you something about them and you've never even, had an encounter with them? That's a lot you have to keep in mind. Are you threatening folks? Like, there are a lot of non-verbal cues, and as well as verbal cues. Your body language can tell a person so much stuff. I myself have a problem with facial expressions. Ooh, you can look at my face sometimes, Lord knows, and you can be like, yeah, we gonna go on by and not talk to her today, because we can see it in her face, she is not in the mood. And I'm guilty of that, but we all got to work on something, and I know that's one of mine to work on, is my facial expression. So you have to ask yourself, what can you say? Do you produce defensiveness or trust? Do you want to increase resistance or cooperation? Or do you want to, promote conflict or understanding? Here you want to eliminate negativity and violent words. Whew. Those violent words to yourself. You done said some things that you probably shouldn't say, but keep in mind, it's okay to self-talk. You just can't say everything out loud, because you have to keep in mind, you may say it one way, but your audience hear it in a totally different way. So now we have to worry about, oh, well, I felt like she was picking with me. I felt like he's sexist, or he's, a lot of stuff can just come from how we say things versus what we say. So just keep that in mind as well. And challenge yourself. Try to remove all negative words from your vocabulary. Easier said than done. Yes, very easier said than done. Don't start a sentence with you. That goes back to the blame thing. Instead of saying you did this or you did this, let's just sit down and say, okay, well, I noticed when you and I were having a conversation, this came up. I didn't like what you said. I didn't appreciate it. What can we do to fix it? Instead of saying, well, you said this and you know what, I just don't appreciate it, so I'm done. No, we can't roll like that. Not in a business perspective, to be exact. Share good news. They say gossiping is bad, but it's only bad if it's in a negative way. We can gossip about good news, so it's okay. And don't assume that because people are whispering or they're gathered up in a group that they're talking about you, because that's not always the case. And as humans, that's the first thing we think, especially if we had a run-in with one of the people that we see, whispering. Oh, she's talking about me. And it could be something that ain't even on your subject, your topic, or nothing about your person. So don't become so judgmental and quick to jump to conclusions to assume that because you see people whispering, they're talking about you in a negative way. See, don't gossip. Be the secret keeper. Sometimes it's that statement, less is more, that is very true. And I promise y'all, when I was younger, I never understood that. But being where I'm at in life today, that makes so much sense. Not every action deserves a reaction. So you don't have to respond to everything. I've always told, be the bigger person. And I know in certain situations, being the bigger person is just not where you want to be. I ain't trying to be the bigger person because you like, oh, he said it or she said it. I need to reply to it or I need to respond to it. No, you don't. Because my dad have always told me, every dog has his or her day. And when that opportunity present for you to speak on something, it's going to present itself and you're going to say what you have to say and you're going to be done with it. Point blank, period. The more positive you are, the more people you'll want to be with you. Now that is true. I have a question though. Do you guys think opposites attract? Who in here thinks that opposites attract? Not all the time. Okay, who else? Okay. And that's true because what I was hoping somebody said yeah, because I was gonna explain why that's not always true. But that's right. It depends on the situation. We think opposites attract, but in reality, we really attract the people that's more like us. Or we attract the ones that we think gonna always agree with us, even when they know we're wrong. So that's why it's not always the case that opposite attracts. How to communicate with difficult people. These are some different ways, like you can use the person's name. So what's your name? Bessie. If Bessie were to come to me and say, hey, what's your name? Right here in the front. Shawan. If Bessie came to me and said, hey, Jacquan, Shawan said Bessie come to me and say, girl, you wouldn't believe old girl over there said something about you. Who is old girl? We got a whole bunch of old girls over here. So no, are we talking about this old girl, that old girl, this one? So use names, but before you go and be so quick to call somebody out and be like, girl, Bessie came to me and said, you said such and such. No, that's not how I would approach you. I would, something came back to me. Do me and you have a problem? If so, can we sit down? Can we do some lunch? Can we take 10 or 15 minutes out of your 30-minute break? Find a way to communicate. Don't always assume the worst when somebody come to you and say, he or she said something bad about you. A lot of the times, it could just be mess. I've known people over the years to just try to figure out a way to push your button. And so they want to see just how far they can get you to go to act out of character. And now guess what? We at work, your boss got to get involved. Somebody probably gonna get reprimanded. Was it even worth it in the end? That's what you have to ask yourself before you quick to jump. Is it worth me getting in trouble? Is it worth me losing my job? Is it worth me possibly having some type of lawsuit against me and the company? Because the company is not going to really take too fun of a lawsuit. So that's a lot you have to keep in mind. Revisit if needed. If I was to go to Bessie and say, can I talk to you? She may say, you know what, now is not a good time. I need to calm down. I need to respect that, because sometimes when you catch people and they're not ready to talk, they tend to say things to you that they never would have said had you just given them time to, you know, take a few steps back, maybe take a day or so and then come back and revisit. So that is very true. Remember, we all have a story. Like I stated earlier, Bessie may not be having a good day. So I may come in and say, good morning, Bessie, and she say, hey, am I supposed to be like, well, why you spoke to me like that? Maybe Bessie maybe the kids got up and they was just all over the place. Or, you know, maybe she just don't feel good. Maybe she got bad news before she came in, but who am I to say, well, why you spoke to me like that? No, take a step back, maybe go see Bessie a couple hours later and say, are you okay? And depending on how she may answer me, that may still mean, Jacquan, mind your business and leave this girl alone. Because she ain't ready to talk. When she's ready, she'll come to me. Counter the negative with the positive. I tell my clients this all the time. If you think negative, what you get? When you think the opposite and you think positive, you get positive. This is gonna sound crazy, but I tell every client this. You never know what your day gonna be like when you walk out your house. But if you give yourself that mini pep talk, because I do it in the morning time when I'm getting ready, y'all, and I had to figure this out as a counselor, because you just never know what you're gonna encounter with the type of job. And I'm pretty sure you guys encounter a whole bunch of different personalities. But I stand in that mirror and I say, hey, pretty girl, you're gonna have a good day today. Now that's me wishful thinking, but at least I'm telling myself something good so I can, you know, at least lead with it. Now, I ain't gonna say about 12 o'clock that this pretty girl is no longer having a beautiful day. But at least I encourage myself to try to say, I'm gonna have a good day. Don't ask complainers why they're complaining. Now this is a good one. Going back to Bessie. You don't think I'm picking on you, do you? Oh, okay. So why would I walk over to Bessie and say, what is your problem today? You know what Bessie gonna tell me? She gonna complain, she gonna come with another complaint. I just don't wanna be at work. So why am I gonna keep asking her the same thing to keep getting the same negative effect? Okay, I understand you wanna be here. Well, girl, if you wanna talk, I'm here, holler at me. And we're just gonna leave it alone. So don't try to get her to go from a negative to a positive in 5 minutes, because no, it's just not gonna work that way with Bessie. I guess it won't. Perceptions can impact communication and cause unnecessary stress. That's true. I always tell people, don't put no more stress on you than you don't need. It's bad enough when we wake up and we enter in this wicked world, we already stressed. So why am I gonna do something else to cause even more stress and just keep piling and keep piling and keep piling? No, we need to, what we can eliminate, we eliminate it. Now, not to say, again, expect the unexpected. Be prepared for something to jump in your way, but don't automatically assume it's gonna happen. Just, you wanna be prepared for it. Expect the best. Who wouldn't? I mean, I want $1 million, so I'm expecting it. And it's gonna happen. I don't know when, don't know where it's gonna come from, but that's my expectation. Attitudes influence behavior. That is true. Going back to the negative and the positive. If I have a negative attitude, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have a negative behavior. That's just life. Challenge your beliefs. Are you rude or are you shy? Rude or a cultural difference, and that's something to think about. I'm gonna hit on that for a minute. So we have different, African Americans, Caucasians. So maybe in the African American community, we may think one way, but is that to say that because the Caucasians don't think the way we think, or they say things different, or they eat things different, that they're being rude? No, it's a cultural difference. So that is something that's very important. I know in my role as a counselor, that is one of the main things we have to keep in mind, that Whereas most, like I have an Asian client, most Asians, they're not outspoken. They're kind of like, if you ask them to do it, whether they want to do it or not, they're going to do it because they're not known for saying no, and they're not known for really expressing their opinion. That don't make them like it makes them different, but not in a different way we would try to draw the conclusion for it to be. So just keep that in mind as well. If you go to a meeting and don't know anybody, what do? Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, this is my first time doing this. I am very shy. May not even seem like it because I'm up here and it's just flowing. But thank you for that. But just because, and like Austin said, he made a joke at the very beginning. He said, it's almost like we're at church. And I said, why? Because everybody's spaced out or they at the back? He said, because they at the back. But that's what most people do. When you feel like you don't know anybody, you want to sit in the back because you don't want to be picked on. You don't want nobody to ask you no questions because you just feel like I'm here. I'm doing this because my job asked me to be here. So I'm going to keep to myself. Don't ask me nothing. But that's not always true. It's just some people are shy, and us shy people just don't open up, y'all. This is a self-serving bias. We tend to accept more responsibility for good deeds than for bad, and for success than we do from failures. We see ourselves as better than the average. Do any of y'all agree with that last statement? Do you see yourself better than the average? So how do you see yourself? Bessie, how do you see yourself? Come on, girl. Tell me how you see yourself.
I love me.
Okay. But do you think you're better than the average, or how would you explain? How would you identify? If I ask you to tell me who you are, how would you identify yourself or describe yourself? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a hard question.
Really?
Well, I can say I didn't always see myself better than the average.
Okay.
But I can say as of now I do.
Okay.
I've learned a lot.
Okay.
Over the years with myself in different situations.
You have
that make me as I am today.
You had a boost of confidence from somewhere.
Definitely.
That is okay.
And I appreciate the bad.
Gotcha. Okay. There you go. So that's a true statement. We learn from our old selves. I encourage some of my clients to journal. It's not for you to just journal you're not just writing it because you're writing it. It's really for you to go back maybe 6 months to a year and see, were you in a bad place this day, a year from now? And if you were and you're in a better place, hey, that means it's growth. That then came from somewhere. And you can always go back and read to see what brought me to where I'm at now today. Like I can journal this. I finally did something really good. And I wasn't that shy as I thought I was going to be. Now, this is the implicit association test. This test, y'all, I've taken it. And I would actually, it ain't mandatory, but I would encourage y'all to take it. Patty actually had me take it. And the test, it it reads you pretty much for the most part. Because every one of us have some form, we're biased at some point in life. And the one that I took, it was kind of the difference between being a male and a female. And one of the main questions that stood out to me was I associated men with briefcases, and I associated women with wearing suits to work. So that is kind of true, because most of the time you rarely see a woman with a briefcase. We usually have a purse or maybe like some type of arm bag. But a briefcase, that's more of a man type thing, but that's not true, because we have a lot of women that's in corporate America and they have to carry a briefcase. So, but I would really encourage y'all to take this test. And if you decide to take it, send me the results and I can leave the email. You don't have to put your name on it or anything. I just want to see the bias or the unbiased that's in us. Are emotions contagious? Yes, they are. They really are. And that was that question, do opposites attract? We've already discussed that one. So we're going to talk about the psychology of the perception of similarities and differences. Dare to be different. Let go of the other person being wrong. Not me. Y'all, that is so hard. It's hard in my personal life. I'm not going to say in my business life. In my personal life, if I feel like you done wronged me, we done. I'm talking about we are done, and like it takes a lot to get me to that I'm done with you point, but I told myself if I get there, I got to be done, because you didn't cause too much harm or too much hurt or too much something. And see, that's me. I ain't gonna mistreat you, but I ain't got nothing else for you. Ooh, I'm talking about don't ask me for nothing. Hey, Jacquan, hey. That's it. I'm talking about quick snapping you up. Hey, you okay? Yep. I ain't gonna even ask you back, because at this point, I probably don't even care. I probably don't even care. Everybody is ignorant only on different subjects. That's true. That is true. Because I don't know y'all's job, so that makes me ignorant. Some of y'all are not counselors. That will make you ignorant towards my job. So just because I don't know your job, it still don't make you better than me. It's just mean, hey, we chose different career paths. That's it. All of y'all work together, not in the same department. So she may not know what you do, you may not know what she do. But that don't make you better than them. That just means that's the job you got hired for, so that's what you're learning. Listening is the most important diversity skill. I truly agree with that. And I'm going to tell you what I tell people. I prefer to listen with my ears than to read something with my eyes. I will misperceive sometime a text message or an email, and I'm ready to pick up the phone and be like, I read what you sent me. And they be like, yeah, but what's the problem? Oh, I found a lot of problems, y'all. Some of us, we will turn a and into an or, a if into a but. So sometimes listening it's always important to just listen. Slow down. Let's not be so quick to jump the gun and just ready to just tear into some people. Your tone is important. Your pace is important, and so is your posture. Because I got a sleepyhead in here. Ooh, what that's telling me. He not asleep. Oh, I'm sorry then. I thought he was asleep. I seen his head go down in his chest. So I'm sorry then. What's your name?
Alistair.
Say it again for me.
Alistair.
Alistair. Oh, I like that name. That's kind of odd. But yeah, your posture is important. Let's see. Yeah. A good listener can repeat what is said. That is true. I feel like I'm a good listener, but that don't mean I can always repeat what's said. Sometimes we tend to twist words. Eye contact is very important. That's something else when it comes to cultural differences. Not everybody do eye contact. Asians, again, they're not big eye contact people. So don't assume that when you're talking to them, they're disrespecting you because they're not giving you that eye contact. Before we jump the gun, let's try to, and that's somebody, I don't usually leave homework assignments. What I do with my clients, that's a homework assignment. Let's get more diversified with knowing different cultures. So when we have to interact with them, we understand why they do certain things. I can't remember which culture it is, but it's one that when you're talking to them, their arms are folded the whole time. And for most of us, when you fold your arms, that means, man, hurry up or leave me. It means something, but it doesn't mean the same thing for every culture. So keep that in mind. Use questions. Now this is something a little different. Are y'all familiar with open-end and closed-end questions? Okay. And when you ask them more closed-end questions, it's kind of like, good morning, Jacquan, good morning. You're just going to get that straight. Instead of, if you say, well, how was your morning, Jacquan? Now we got that old open-end question, so I got to open up a little bit more. So keep that in mind as well when you're engaging with your peers and you just assuming they having a bad day. Come to them in a different way. Active listening. Find out information and ask questions. I know some of us don't ask questions. I'm a big question asker. When I first started working with EAP, Patty talks fast. So what I would do was write down what she said, and before we would get off the phone, I said, can I repeat back to you what you just said? Because I need to make sure I got it. It's nothing wrong with that. Don't mean I didn't know what she said. I just need to verify because she's a fast talker. So asking questions is very important. Reinstate the facts. Like I just said, this is what I heard. Is this what I heard? Is this what you're saying? Restate your feelings and validate. I understand you feel you are treated unfairly. Yeah, we kind of do for the most part. Encourage communication. What would you like to see happen? What can you do? And then summarize. This is what I heard. This is what I'm going to do. This is what you're going to do, right? Come back and ask those questions so we can make sure we're all on the same page. Because a lot of the times when you have meetings or when something is asked of you, you don't really get full details, so you just assume that that's what they were asking. It don't hurt to come back and ask, hey, is this what you want me to do? Okay, ask. Mistakes in communication. What can you do? Do not participate in rude behavior. Another one that's easier said than done, because I don't know about everybody else, but I can speak for myself. Sometimes when the energy you give me, that's kind of like the energy you're gonna get back. If you come to me and you come to me correct, I'm gonna be so open and be ready to talk. But if you come to me and you just, Jacquan, you did this and you shouldn't have done that, whoa, because what you're not gonna do, that ain't what we finna do. So keep that in mind, that don't participate in the rude behavior. Just try to take a step back and say, hey, let's. I always tell people, let's start over. And I'm gonna walk out the door, and when I come back in, let's start this whole conversation over, so I can make sure we on the same page. Pay attention to reactions of others. That is also important. That's one of them nonverbal cues when you sitting down and you talking, and I'm looking at you like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. That means whatever you just said to me, I ain't agreeing with it. So pay attention to how people react to what you're saying. Ask if you don't know. Again, very important. This last one is the most important to me. The last one on here is the most important. Apologize. When you're wrong, just admit you're wrong. Don't keep trying to be wrong, knowing you're wrong, but keep wanting to make it seem like you're right. If you're wrong, apologize. It'll take you a long way. Look, but I'll say this. Don't just say, and I hate this, and that's such a strong word, but I dislike for people to say, I'm sorry. For what? Don't just tell me I'm sorry because that's something you think I want to hear. Explain to me. Let's talk about what you're apologizing to me for. One of my biggest problems, y'all, and this is in myself, I'm an explainer. If I ask you to do something, I'm gonna explain to you why I want you to do it. And I don't know why I'm like that. I get fussed at a whole lot by Patty, because she be like, Jacquan, you don't have to tell me. And I be like, yes, I do. You're the boss. And she was like, no, you don't. We go back and forth, y'all. This is every day between she and I. Patty, I used the credit card because we needed this in the office. Jacquan, I ain't asked you that. I gave it to you because I knew you were going to use it for but I just want you to know why I used the credit card for what I used it for. The Girl Scout law. Oh, that's a little small. Sound like we got, you was a Girl Scout? Somebody was a Girl Scout. and there we go. See, I ain't even held y'all long. Look at that. It's 35 minutes after and we're done. Do I have any questions? No questions, no questions. So I'm gonna explain to you guys what the EAP is. Your work pays for you guys to come have sessions with us. I think it's either 3 or 5. I can't remember honestly, but you call in, everything is confidential. The only way it's not confidential if you're making threats to harm yourself, harm someone else. Other than that, you can come in there and you can be like, ooh, Jacquan, girl, you just don't know the day I had. You know what, I'm gonna sit there, girl, come on, tell Jacquan what happened. It's marital. We do cover your spouses and your children up to age 25. You don't have to be present if your spouse wanna come. They can call and just say, hey, I'm Betsy's husband. And that's all I need to know. And Betsy ain't gonna even know her husband and call unless her husband go home and tell her. That is not for me to call Betsy and say, girl, your husband called up here and you wouldn't believe what he was talking about. See, I wouldn't dare. That is against the law. But I mean, we help from, we do have financial resources if need be. Of course, you guys are the child care resource, so we'll just refer you back to your own work if that's what you need. But it's an array of things. Marriage, children, we do little kids, adolescents, teenagers. Like I said, they're covered up to age 25 through your EAP. I didn't bring any cards. Miss Sarah, do you have some cards? Okay, so Miss Sarah has the cards. You have brochures? Okay, so she has all of that, that'll, you know, get into more in depth about what we do, but just keep in mind it is confidential, because it's a lot of people, that'll be the first question. I get that phone call a lot. They'll call and say, hey, I heard you're my EAP. Is everything I tell you confidential? Yes, except for what I explain. Unless you're, you know, threatening imminent harm to yourself or to someone else, then other than that, we have to, and I will add this. If any type of abuse is occurring in the home, we have to report that too. Whether it's, you know, sexual abuse or child abuse or verbal abuse, that's a little hard one, because it's not like they're physically harming you. But just keep that in mind. It is confidential. Any questions? No questions. No questions. No questions. Okay. Well, I have a eval summary. I'm just going. Nobody, don't put your name on. You don't have to put your name on. If you'll just fill this out, this will let Patty know how I did, which will let me know that I did good or I did bad. Which I take all criticism. I'm not the person to say don't put nothing on. I'm just gonna hand y'all a few, and I'll come back. Oh, you got them for me. Okay. Thanks, Austin. And I'm gonna leave this sitting up here. I'm not gonna pass it out. It also talks about how the EAP. 25 reasons for, you know, why you may want to call us, what we can do for you, and all that good stuff. So y'all can pick up one on your way out, and you can just leave your eval on the table for me, and I'll get them after you guys are gone. Since we don't have any questions, nobody wants to ask Jacquan questions. And that's what I was about to say. If you don't want to ask them in person, call me. I'm there Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4. So just pick up the phone, give me a call. We can work some things out.